You're watching the Chaos Protocol on Transplanar RPG, an all-transgender, people of color-led dark fantasy TTRPG show set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist multiverse. If you like what you see, please consider pledging to our Patreon to support the show and get access to a patron-only after-show, early podcast episodes, GM notes, character sheets, and even the chance for your tabletop OC to cameo in our series. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include fantasy violence, grief, romance, references to sex, complex character dynamics, medical situations, absurdism, disreality, and fire. Arc 2 Interlude, The Hitchhiker. The Transplanar Reification and Nourishment Syndicate Onboarding Handbook, Chapter 1, Part 3. The Multiversal Power Hierarchy. The Multiversal Power Hierarchy, aka the MPH, is a syndicate methodology of understanding and categorizing the power levels of all entities in the journey, including yourself. Knowing where you stand in the MPH will help inform your decision-making process, solve problems, and enact fate's will, all while avoiding the ire of oblivion. Below, you can find a brief overview of each tier of the Multiversal Power Hierarchy, starting at the very top. Tier 1. Precepts. These are the architects of the journey, of all creation and all life, of being and reality itself. There are only 3. There are always 3. There will always be 3. They are Fate the First, Oblivion the Second, and Magic the Third. The distance between the precepts and the rest of the hierarchy is infinite. Tier 2. Domains. These are the ingredients of the journey, the core building blocks of the multiverse shared by all realities. Domains are not sentient. Domains are not sapient. Their number is unknown and unknowable. They are multiversal, omnipresent, but not omniscient. They are the very concepts that undergird the multiverse itself. Tier 3. Patron Saints. These are the hands of fate, her confidants, her first chosen, the blessed watchers over the journey, the eternal, the steadfast, the loyal. There are only 3 patron saints, and each is chosen by fate herself to oversee the operations of the Syndicate. Each saint stewards a different domain and overlooks a different aspect of the Syndicate's operations. They are Ruyin the First, the patron saint of heroes, Lucy the Second, the patron saint of monsters, and Artemis the Third, the patron saint of mortals. Tier 4. Gods. Gods are divine beings possessed of immense power. Gods are the architects and/or progenitors of their planes who embody, steward, or represent aspects of their worlds. They are incredibly powerful beings, and agents should avoid drawing their attention at all costs. Tier 5. Demigods. Demigods are entities who have been touched by divinity. For instance, the offspring of a god and a mortal who is on the path to apotheosis, or an emissary so powerful that they have ascended to demigodhood. Folk heroes often fall into this category. One of the most well-known demigods is She Who Swallowed the Moon, whose story can be found on page 11,360 of the Trans Handbook Extended Edition. Tier 6. Emissaries. Emissaries are magical beings who wield significant influence over their surroundings and the people who live within them. What distinguishes an emissary from a demigod is culturally specific, though it is often characterized by a difference in magical ability, social recognition, and divine influence. Tier 7. Spirits. Spirits are the remnants of mortal souls who have reached the afterlife of their plane. Each world's afterlife is extremely varied, and spirits may gain power even after death. They may or may not abide by the same local rules of observed reality as their mortal counterparts. Finally, Tier 8. Mortals. 92.88888888883% of all entities in the multiverse are mortal. This includes animals, people, plants, and all manner of life forms, carbon-based and otherwise. As an agent of trans, you belong to this category. Power within this category varies widely based on training, experience, thaumaturgical potential, and of course, luck. Now, there are some beings who momentarily defy this power classification, often by way of accident. For example, when a strike team returns to the Syndicate from another plane, the gravitational well of Trans's teleportation magic may, on very rare occasion, pull in an unrelated entity from that plane. However, due to the laws of perceptual magic that protect the Syndicate, these entities do not arrive at Trans. Instead, they are shunted to another reality, far away from their home plane. The Syndicate calls these unfortunate entities hitchhikers. Hitchhikers are a Priority 1 assignment. The mere presence of a hitchhiker in a plane that is not their home can create wide-ranging consequences for the journey. Consequences that are entirely outside the intentions of fate's design. All agents should recognize the grave importance and urgency of bringing a hitchhiker back home, not just for their own safety and well-being, but the safety and well-being of the fabric of the multiverse itself. Seir, we find you in a training hall. There is sweat, there is the sound of grunting and exertion, and a sanguine kind of excitement that swirls through this arena. It has been 2 weeks since you've returned from the City of Heaven, and tell me, what are you in the midst of doing?
I am training. I'm training for the next mission when we inevitably get it. I'm running circuit after circuit. I will be faster, I'll be stronger, and this one is no different.
That's right. So tell me, Seir, how have you changed since coming back from the City of Heaven?
Seir's tattoos that he received as a boon, as a gift from the fires of the Forge, remained since his return from Trans. So his forearms are now dotted with these tiger stripe tattoos. He has a very obvious, what looks to be some sort of plaster or bandage across his ribs from his last fight with Suijiang. A wound that's being a little temperamental. And another thing that is different about Seir is that he's allowed his stubble to grow out into a little bit more of a manicured beard. He's allowed his hair to grow more, and it kind of sits on his shoulders in these beautiful curls. And he wields patience, not violence. Violence is not strapped at his hip. A consequence from the City of Heaven.
That's true. Violence is still glitching, one might say. So we find you mid-circuit right now. Right now, the arena floor is oscillating, almost as though it's made of liquid, in a way that's trying to pitch you off and out, shunt you out of the circuit and have you fail it. But you are not failing. You see your goal, which is the finish line, as the floor is like the middle of a tidal tsunami. How do you buck your way to the end?
Seir crouches, almost kneeling onto the floor, listening to the rumblings and shiftings of the floor beneath him. And he channels that calling, that power within him, title he accepted, Doom. And he looks forward, eyes ablaze, as he will launch himself, and with each step as he lands on platforms, bits of the circuit, he intentionally, at some points, lands so hard that shards of the platform shatter into pieces of stone that he turns into platforms to elevate him onto the next platform, using patience to lift off of higher hoops and platforms and other higher structures to land and move between all of these moving blocks around him, utilizing the momentum to surge himself destructively forward. The waves get bigger, more volatile, and more violent the closer you get to the finish line, but you craft your own path
with sheer destructive force. Every place you land, it smash, and then a stone platform kind of spills its guts open in front of you for you to use as a launch pad. Smash, 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 smash. And you know the kind of like ending salvo of this circuit is a bunch of fireworks that basically explode out in front of your face and try to be like that last final curtain before you win. So I think we see you explode through this curtain of incandescent red flame wreathed in it, and you land outside of the finish line. And as soon as that happens, we see a big clock mounted on the wall. It stops counting down, and it saves your time. Ding, 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 ding. And the training oracle turns green as you finish, and like the floor tiles stop oscillating so much, and they let out a mechanical before clicking back into place on level ground.
Training oracle time.
New time, 9 seconds and 12 milliseconds. New record.
Not fast enough. Shui Jiang has smashed Xainan's head in 7. Faster.
As you turn around and reset the obstacle course, we see you backlit by the scoreboard, and we see that every single name on this circuit has been replaced by your name. So this was the circuit that you had struggled to beat. Sing had dominated that first place, but her name isn't even in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's all Seir, all the way down to 9. In fact, Sing's score is at the very bottom of the board, number 10. And you know that if you run this one more time and you set another record, you will push your sister's name off the board.
And Seir stares at that for a moment before he clicks on some buttons on the screen of the Oracle. Run the 43rd protocol. And he's going to swap training regiments.
Yeah, ching, 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 ching. And there's kind of like a clockwork clicking noise as the Oracle spins in place and changes to a different color. And you see different obstacles now starting to like lift up, forming out of matter in the ground. As you change circuits, you hear a from the back of the training hall, and kind of peeling himself forward off of a piece of shadow lying off the ground is Diego del Sol. A broad-chested man with this warm brown skin, this long, textured, curly hair. You know, if your hair was maybe just a couple inches longer, you'd be the spitting image of Diego, Seir. And Diego's clapping kind of pauses. She lowers her huge, broad hands back down to her hips and beams a very impressed smile, a genuine smile in your direction. Huh! Nice going there, little brother.
Sir, forgive me, I didn't hear you come in.
No, it's all right. I didn't want you to hear me come in. Didn't want to throw off your game.
Not fast enough though. I need to be faster and not lose momentum in that speed. A balance I'm trying really hard to strike.
Well, it seems like you are starting to strike that balance, not just with excellence, but with aplomb. You know. And Diego takes a few more steps closer to you, kind of giving you a once-over, looking at the places where you've grown, the places where you've changed since the last time you sparred with his party. And she says, you might just be ready for a rematch soon.
Really?
Yes. You know, you keep this up. And you've got a bright future here at Trans. I mean, you've always had a bright future, but this confidence looks good on you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to take you up on your offer for a duel. With everyone, of course.
Good. I'll reach out when the time is right. And, you truly do look like you're starting to figure out who you are. In the real way. Be proud of that.
It's a hard lesson, but one I won't forget.
Oh, it's the hardest lesson in the multiverse. You know, there are trans agents twice your age who still haven't gone on that journey yet. But hey, we're all in this wild multiverse at our own rate, no?
Yes. And as he says that, there's a flash of pain across his face. That now should be the time he comes into his own, and I think his eyes linger on the last screen with Sing's name. the final bottom of the chart. We can't do it fast enough, can we? Ever. Mortals, I mean.
Diego catches you glancing at Sing's name before the board kind of wipes to show the leaderboard of the new circuit you've put in, kind of like the arrivals and departure screen changing in an airport terminal. But she does catch it, and she kind of claps a big, warm hand against your shoulder and says, "We can sure try to taste godhood, but that's not the path fate's laid out for us. There are plenty of things we can do as mortals to affect her will."
Understood. Do you want to race? And he smirks, playfully, challengingly, with bright, fiery eyes.
You know what, Seir? I would love to, but my strike team's calling. We've got a team meeting soon, and I want you to keep that confidence for now. I don't want to shatter it quite yet.
If you're afraid, old man, you can just say it.
Afraid? If I was someone else, that might have been the right button to push. But I'm Diego del Sol. You have to find the right knob to pull on me.
I'll find it yet.
And don't worry, kid. And a kind of like seriousness kind of comes over her. You'll step out of her shadow yet.
At one point, that might have been something I was looking for. No. Now I see my sister and her legacy as my responsibility. Her legacy is mine. Her heart is mine. And I'll carry it forward.
The eyebrows rise in surprise and then come back down as a genuine smile blooms across his lips. Well put. All right, my stomach's rumbling. I'll see you when I see you, and keep your oracle primed for an invitation.
I will, if it will. And he thinks about the incessant noises and teasing the oracle has levied in his direction since returning from the Wild Sea. I will be sure to keep an eye out on the oracle. Yes.
All right then, Wale. And Diego kind of gives you a salute and slinks off. As the doors open and close, the sweat continues to drip out of your pores and tickle the back of your neck. This next circuit solidifies, and there's a kind of deet, 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 deet from an alarm that you've set for yourself, ringing out from the oracle in oracle space, as you know that it's time, most likely time, for you to meet up with the rest of Nova.
Shit, I'm late. She's gonna be mad at me. I'm late. Fuck. And he sheathes patience and quickly types out a number to shut down the circuit. Quick, fuck. And he's gonna start running out of the circuit hall to meet with the rest of Nova.
Yeah. As you do, your oracle follows, like, bobbing along, like, perfectly 2 feet behind, like, and repeats what you're saying. Fuck, on your way out.
No, don't repeat that. None of the halls of trance. No. They'll think I taught you that.
And, like, your voices echo down the hallway. As you recede down this corridor, we pan through the various labyrinthine hallways that comprise this iridescent organization known as Trans. We pull our view down, and when we stabilize, we find ourselves on Lumira. Lumira, you are supine. You are lying horizontal in a really soft, really warm bed. There are silken sheets pulled over you. These sheets are like swan's feathers, right? They're made of silk. You see like gold embroidery all over it. They look literally angelic. And it smells so good in here, Lumira. You're beginning to stir.
I think Lumira jolts awake she was stretching long and full-bodied right across, but she jolts awake once she realizes and kind of glances over at her oracle, almost expecting it because she knows what she has to do today. So she kind of rolls over and feels something cool right against her left thigh, and she remembers exactly where it is that she is now. So she, with all of the stealth that she can muster, scooches herself out of bed, out of Seir's embrace, and tries to get out of the bed without ruffling it too much. She's frantically looking around in the dark of this bedroom, trying to find the pieces of her uniform that are scattered across the floor. And looks, as she's picking up her clothes and like bundling them in her arms, she looks over at whose bed it was that she just left from.
Indeed. It is Amaru Hendricks, who is prone in the bed. That one skeletal arm, I think, has just like slid back down onto the mattress as you slide out of place. That was the cool thing I think you had made contact with on your skin. And Z kind of, but doesn't quite wake yet as you leave your grasp.
I have to go. And she's whispering, like, very lowly under her breath, they're gonna be so pissed at me. They're gonna be so pissed. I have to go. And is like, picks up her pocket watch, but it jingles a little bit too loud, the chain. So she like stuffs it in between like her robes and like balls them up in between, and picks up her boots in her other arm and kind of is like making her way out of the room, or trying to, while adjusting the little bits and pieces of her uniform that she can, so she's not like bare ass naked trying to make her way
you put on your negligee essentially, but like the rest of your robes are like bundled up around you. There's like jingling, and you heard kind of like a grunting, and then you froze, and then like nothing else happened. Yeah, nothing else happens, right? You just hear like even breathing. And then you keep sort of tiptoeing, creeping your way toward the door, that beautiful marble door. Damn, marble? Yeah, this entire place feels like a temple, right? An angelic temple. You slowly creep your way over, thanking the gods that the floor's made of marble too, and then you take a step forward onto wood? What the hell? Marble turning to wood, and it creaks. And then you hear a voice behind you go, Lumi? Mira, is that you? What are you doing out of bed? Oh, and then you hear the bed kind of groan. You don't see Zim, but you can ascertain Z is lifting himself up against the headboard. Are you hungry? I'll make us breakfast.
In that brief second, she freezes again, and before Maru continues to speak, it's like you see her eyes like dart over to the door, like in like a, can I make it? I woke up and had to go to the bathroom. And then I realized what time it was, so I should probably get going.
Yeah. Yeah, and Amaru's like blearily wiping the sleep out of his eyes now, and horrifyingly, he gets out of bed and approaches you silently, like perfectly avoiding that creaky wood floorboard. And he's going to lift his flesh hand and try to cut the side of your face. Do you let him?
Lumira lets him, but it's as soon as Zair's hand makes contact, it's like almost a stiff, as soon on contact, it's kind of stiff as she's like trying to shimmy her robes back on, and like finally at this point realizes that she's not gonna get much farther. She just drops her boots on the ground and starts like stepping her feet into her boots, getting ready to like zip them up.
Yeah, you're very like practically pulling your clothes on, and he's trying to have a tender moment with you, right? But you're like just like jangling, like throwing clothes on, and like that hand stays on your face even as your head's kind of moving as you maneuver. And he just says, "Hey, I'm really glad we're doing this again."
Same here.
Aww. And he makes a noise, that noise you've never heard Zim make before, the "aw," like a genuine one. And you see
Tightest lip
Zir's
smile.
Zir golden hand goes up to Zir heart and like pats it. "Well, I'll see you later then, Mira." And like wipes a thumb over your cheek.
She looks at Zem like, "You know I don't let you call me nicknames. What's my actual name?"
Lumièra.
"I'll see you later." And she will quickly press a kiss to their cheek. Like,
Yeah, he leans in.
Yeah.
he really leans in when you do that.
It's like,
I think there's a moment where he tries to go in for like a mouth kiss, but then like you go to the cheek and it's like a miss.
I turn my head for a cheek.
All right then. Off you go.
Are you meeting with Phoenix later?
Oh, yes, we have some sort of team meeting, break between missions, but we thought it'd be good to catch up.
Okay. Well, I'll see you around.
Yeah.
When I see you, right?
See you around when you see me, Lumièra. Oh, you've got such a way with words.
And puts her pocket watch in her pocket and like secures her belt with her books and such attached to it. And it's like, I'm gonna get Nova, and will abruptly turn around and try to make her way out of the room.
The marble door automatically slides open for you as you kind of stumble out into the hallway and try to get the hell out of that situation as quickly as possible. Amaru leans against the doorway and then leans out into the corridor, shouting after you, "Give Nova my best." Yeah. And then as you vanish around the corner, with like a little hand around the corner, like he settles back in and says to himself, "Oh, yeah, she's got it bad for me." And then turns and walks back into his bedroom and the marble door closes.
Lumira makes it just around the corner and stops and just like brushes her hands through her hair and just like laces her fingers on top of her head, and it's like just like this deep sigh before straightening herself out and going towards therapeutics.
Yeah, you do your best to compose yourself. And then the clack, 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 clack of your heels again. We push ahead of you, following the path that you will take to get to where you're headed, which is a doorway in the therapeutics and recovery wing of the Syndicate. We push through this doorway into a private med bay that has a spacious bed for patients of any condition, various medical and magical implements floating all around. There's a really gentle, nice scent that suffuses the space, and a kind of calming music that is constantly playing, but never grates on your nerves ever. And this is where we find Xainan. Xainan, you are sitting on the edge of the bed, and you are facing Dr. Helen. She is a tall, willowy woman with this dark, paper-thin skin that exposes glowing silver veins underneath. So it's like someone's constantly shining a flashlight through her body, and you can see what's underneath it. And Faye has this demeanor of perpetual, kind melancholy. And these thick glasses cover Fair eyes, with these even thicker locks flowing down Fair shoulders and over Fair colorful robes. And Faye is in the middle of unwrapping the bandages that are covering your entire head.
We see Xainan slightly changed. His hair is still long from the City of Heaven, but part of it has been shaved short. At first, it was a necessary cut to see how deep the cracks went into his hairline. But then it's been a minute, and Dr. Helen and many of the other wonderful people here and others were kind enough to give Xainan a more complete haircut. Now with just a deep undercut. And as the bandage comes off, he looks with one green eye and still one glowing orange eye back up at Dr. Helen. How's it look?
Dr. Helen never reveals all of her feelings on her face, but over these past weeks, you have learned to read her a little. And you see a flicker of something in her eyes, but she says, all things considered, not as bad as it could be.
I'll take that.
Here,
Listen.
why don't I show you? And Dr. Helen kind of reaches into a drawer and pulls out a hand mirror and shows you your own face.
And Xainan looks, studies all of the marks he earned. The ones that are old, and the new ones that glow with molten metal of creation. And he smiles. I need a shave. Thanks, Doc.
Shaving? That's what you're worried about? And Naeem Zaran, who is on a little rolly chair and has been kept at bay by Dr. Helen this whole time, despite kind of hovering over this situation like a mama bird, cannot be kept at bay any longer, rolls the rolly chair in with like an insistent, concerned squeal, and like leans in, cups the size of your face,
Whoa.
gently but insistently, and like examines you. Look at you. She cracked you open. Are you sure you'll be okay, Doctor? Yes, I am positive. The best of our department, of our discipline, were on the task, Agent Zaran. You can rest assured that best sometimes isn't good enough. How are you feeling, Zaran?
Naeem. I'm alright. You look worse than I do with that crinkle right below your horn. And Xainan reaches out and just kind of like smooths over Naeem's eyebrow.
I'm fine, Xainan. I wasn't the one that got a traumatic brain injury. My sternum...
Listen, you just got
that's
out of here
easy
not
to-
long ago, so why don't you just relax? I'm alright. It doesn't even hurt.
Is his eye going to look like that forever? Yes. Yes, it will. Barring an act of a god. Which is, of course, ill-advised, for its own reasons. Xainan Esh, you will live with these scars forever. So, you should come back regularly for checkups.
I will do that, Doc. Just another one to add to the pile.
Well, I'm glad your spirits remain in high order, even though we had to do our best to stitch your face back. Ugh. Well, yes, that's what happens when you get smacked in the face by a god hammer. It changes you.
Is that so bad? Some change? And Xainan looks Naeem dead in the eyes.
And Naeem finally softens. Like the edges of that concern and anxiety wear off a little. And they say, No, sometimes change is welcome. Sometimes change is the most necessary thing that has to happen. I just wish it didn't happen so violently with you.
Well...
And you know he's not just talking about Shrizyang.
No. I hear you. And I appreciate your concern, but I kind of like it. A little... something different.
And Naeem reaches up and now gently cups the side of your face. The changed side, the side that got cracked, with the molten scars and the eye that isn't quite your usual eye color, and says, like mismatched starlight.
Yeah. And Xainan looks into matching starlight shining back at him.
Well, if the two of you are quite done, Xainan Esh, as your attending physician, I formally discharge you from bed rest. You are cleared to return to your usual agent activities, but please do take it easy. Yes?
Of course. I appreciate you and everyone here at Therapeutics and Recovery. It's been a nice 2 weeks despite the everything.
Good. Stay optimistic. That is important. Now, get out of my office, the two of you.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, doctor. I feel we've outstayed our welcome. Come. And Naeem offers like a hand, even though you weren't injured below the head necessarily, like offers you an arm to stabilize yourself to get out of bed.
Listen, Xainan takes the opportunity to grab Naeem by his forearm and pulls himself up a little bit closer than they've gotten to get in a minute.
Yeah. The two of you kind of like bump shoulders. You get a nice lungful of his scent. Oh, that scent. Like books and worship. And he helps guide you toward the door of Therapeutics and Recovery. As you take careful steps outside, before you leave into the hallway, we push through the door ahead of you to find Seir. You are here first for Nova's reunion. Lumira is nowhere to be seen.
Seir 100% thinks he's late. And as such, slams the door open on the reverse end into the office and yells out, "What's your assessment, doctor?" Boosh! Smashing through the door.
Dr. Helen immediately says, "Nope, out," and like points right toward the hallway for all of you.
Clack, 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 clack. Is
Oh, here she comes.
Lumira's typical running of her boots across the hall, and much like Seir, just brushes her way into Therapeutics and Recovery, looks at Dr. Helen, doesn't give a fuck what she says, and holds her hand out for Xainan's charts.
Oh, yes. The other backseat driver. But she does hand the chart over to you rather reluctantly.
Lumira snatches
Backseat
the file out of the doctor's hand
Backseat
as backseat driver and just starts flipping through it.
And she says, like, methodically, like, every time you've come here, just like Naeem, his vitals are fine, he's cleared for field work, I told him to take it easy, he has
What
some
about this
medication
drop
he
in
should
his
take."
blood pressure right here last night at 2:30? Isn't that
That
something
was
that you should
fine.
be worried about?
It was accompanied by some snoring, very normal for a man his age.
So
All right.
I believe that means you are medically labeled an old man, sir.
Seir.
what about his medication regimen? Is there anything that he should be taking on a
It's
regular?
fine. I must remind you, Lumira, thank you for your services to Therapeutics and Recovery in the past, but I do have some patient-doctor confidentiality. I must, and she, like, jerks the chart out of her hand at that.
Lumira
Uphold.
snatches it back with a slight smile. I am family. And pulls it again towards her. I will
I will
Lumira.
fix
fax
it.
a copy of the chart to your oracle, and she, like, rips it back.
Now, please. And gives like this sugary sweet saccharine smile that is so full of bullshit, but also at the same time, don't test me.
And she gives the exact same saccharine smile. You can see all of her teeth in her face, like surrounded by the glowing silver veins. And she says, "Yes, certainly upon request of family, which I cannot refuse legally by Syndicate protocol. Oracle." And her oracle, a medical oracle, swirls into existence, fishing, and says, "Yes, faxing over to Strike Team Nova's oracle." And then your oracle, Strike Team Nova, into existence in the midst of you and says, "Ooh,
Yummy, 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 yummy info. Gobble, 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 gobble.
Why do you have to say it like that? Why can't you just say facts received like every other oracle?
Lumira just
Dr.
smiles
Helen's
and
face
drops
is
some more
like-
ball bearings in our oracle, like at the top. Thank you. At least someone around here listens.
And your oracle vanishes. Dr. Helen says, how did... Out of my office now, all of you. I have patients to
Doctor.
attend to. And she's like physically pushing. Yes.
Come
Faye
on,
physically
Nova.
pushes all of you out. Out. And the door closes. You're in the
I
hallway.
think hilariously Xainan is the first one out. And spins on a softer shoed heel than a cowboy boot, as he is quite comfortable looking. He is wearing just a soft Henley, very soft over sweater, just comfortable.
How are you
I
feeling?
appreciate your concern. I feel good. You know they're good at what they do, Lumira. You are also good at what you do.
But it's not my work. And if it's okay, she like reaches up with your face between her index finger and her thumb and is like just looking at the side of the face that's
And-
cracked, going over the work.
And Seir's
He doesn't even
head
resist.
pops between Xainan and Lumira's and is looking also at where the crack was. And it's like, you were just smacked in the head with a godly weapon, a very powerful godly weapon, an augmented godly weapon.
Yep.
I suppose
It's
all
right there.
work.
Tier 3 power. Smacked. Right there. So,
And I am alive.
Seir sighs and it's just like, yeah, you're a survivor. Good job. I'm glad you're feeling better.
I appreciate it. And Lumira, I appreciate all of your help. And he leans his head past both of them to Naeem and yours.
Of course. We have to watch out for each other. Speaking of which, now that you are reunited with your strike team, I have some Phoenix business to attend to. Amaru is... It doesn't matter. Not relevant right now. But hopefully I will see the three of you again soon, in high spirits, fully healed, in the field.
See
you
you
for all the
later,
help.
Naeem. And
Thank
if
you.
you need to keep Phoenix longer, for stuff, that's also okay.
Naeem turns his head like a slight 2 degree to the left when you say that, and looks at you briefly, but then says,
She's looking through Xainan's paperwork in the oracle.
like not making eye contact, yeah. And they say, thank you, I appreciate you looking out for Phoenix, Lumira. Well, Nova, and gives a polite half bow, gives one last, I think, squeeze of your hand, Xainan, a meaningful look with you, a linger, and then turns and goes.
So, are you back together or?
Seir.
Lumira's
It's been 2
eyes
weeks.
went so wide at that because she thought you were talking to her. And she was like,
I mean,
and as soon as she realizes you were talking to Xainan, it's like immediate, like, huh,
Naeem Sir,
again.
Naeem Sir
Really?
hasn't left his side in 2.5 weeks.
Right.
That's something, right?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, every
It
time
is
I've come in to
something.
check in on you, he's always been there.
Same here.
Yes, and we have a complicated past. And I'm leaving it up to them.
I mean, who doesn't? It's true.
That's
to
one
how
way to put
fast
it.
Anything moves. All right.
Well, you have my
I've
full
also
and total
been
support.
sleeping for about 2 weeks, so I'm gonna start whatever pace that they want to start at. But for now, we have business to attend to that is much more important than my love life. Yes?
But we can
Yeah.
also still talk about it at the same time. No, we don't.
Yeah, but
Let's
I'm
go.
hungry.
We have business. Fair enough. I'm actually kind of hungry too.
Yeah, the oracle swirls into existence as your team starts to walk down the corridor.
Yes, important business. Lunch.
Just had a
Hi,
treat.
Oracle.
Lunch.
Drop some more.
And then
Don't be
soars out of
greedy. We're going to
existence.
lunch. I give you too many.
Vanishes
You're not going to
before-
eat your lunch.
Have
The
you
three
just
of
been
you-
feeding it nonstop since we got back?
No more than usual.
That's not good for them.
If they're hungry, they're hungry. What am I to deny something to eat? That's not fair.
I've never seen an oracle as hungry as ours.
The three of you round the corner as you're making your way to the lunchroom, and you enter into a corridor that you know contains an office of one of the Hands of Fate. Because this corridor is immediately wider than all of the other corridors and has a beautiful diamond wall. See, the nature of trans is that the corridors are constantly changing, constantly shifting around you. So there's no real way to memorize a map. There are only intuitions and feelings you can follow. So as you step into the corridor of Han Wuyen's office, you see coming out of the office, like the door swings open, this beautiful wooden door, and one step comes out of the office, a foot that is decidedly not Han Wuyen's foot. But you do recognize it immediately on sight because it's her. The person from Earth. The hitchhiker. Kimani, what do you look like? And why is it obvious to every single person in Strike Team Nova that you've just stolen something from Han Wuyen's office?
Because there is a shit-eating grin on his face. A grin that, honestly, you can only see on the look of like a world-class thief that has just jumped into the Louvre in Paris and zip-lined back up, and as soon as they hit the ground, Kimani's face is the same as that, except this job was a lot more easier. She just walked into an office, grabbed a thing in like a box, and walked out. And kind of is holding it now, this small black item, like 2 inches, it's curved.
The item is inside of a box. The box is an intricate, it is an intricate sandalwood box, roughly about larger than a ring engagement box, maybe like 3 of those ring engagement boxes across and then 2 wide. You know that there is an item inside of it, but you haven't opened the box quite yet.
That's
Intricate
fine.
sandalwood, looks like it's fit for an emperor.
I think I'm on the verge of opening, like about to look at it.
Yep,
like,
yep.
Truly. Unless someone says something to me, she's just gonna like.
What the fuck are you doing here?
Whoa!
I think Lumira was literally, when she saw the door open, she was getting ready to greet Han Wuyen, and when she realizes Kimani steps out, she, like, her face just drops and she's like, "You have got to be kidding me."
You scared Kimani so bad that like Z almost dropped the box and like throws it up, catches it. Oh, it's you 3. Whew, scared me. Okay.
What is
What are you
that in your
doing here?
hand, and why are you here?
It is an intricate box laid in wood.
I
and it's
know
the
what it
exact-
is. I'm asking, why do you
Let's-
have it?
Let's start with why you're here.
Okay.
How are you here?
Better
Oh, I just
question.
walked in.
No one just walks into
okay.
the Syndicate. And
So I
Xainan
was
is
on
getting
this-
closer and closer with every question, both from him and from the others.
Seir's also marching.
Is stepping 1/2 step back for every 2 steps that you come. Not necessarily fully closing the distance, but is like, it's like, don't come near me, I'm explaining. Okay, so where I just was, I was on this planet, beautiful planet, had so much good food on it, honestly. But there's this cliff. If you run up to it, specifically at 12:01 or 12:08, honestly, don't remember it, and you dive into the cliff and think of the place that you want to go and free yourself of all of the ambitions that you have. You dive into it, feel like you're drowning, but you don't. And then you come back up and you come in, and then I was here. Honestly, I didn't.
So Nova, this is a hawk of bullshit. That is not how you enter the Syndicate at all.
No.
This is inaccurate.
Okay, but
Why don't you come with us and we'll have a conversation about how you jumped off a cliff.
I'm sure the hands of
And
fate
Xainan
could
holds
solve
out a
your problem.
hand.
And at this point, it's like it was half steps, now it's full steps back. One, how about? No, you're the old one, you're the angry one, and you're the pretty one.
Lumira looks between herself and Seir for a second before also striding up to meet the rest of them. Kind of unclear on which one was the pretty one and which one was the smart one.
Kima
Yeah,
notices
Xainan
the
didn't look over his shoulder. He's like,
unsureness.
one of you is the angry one.
You're the pretty one, dear.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Stop. No, absolutely not.
What?
You need to
What?
come with
What?
us.
Okay.
Come
you
on.
don't ask a girl their name before you try to take me on a date.
We
No,
know it.
no.
It's Kamani, and Kamani's not supposed to be here. So with that
God.
being said, I'm not going to ask again. This is the last time I'm going to ask nicely.
Okay,
actually.
Okay. Let's talk this out. Let's talk this out before things get weird and wild and wacky and fun. And you can see that Kimani is like putting this in her pocket.
Xainan
in her
reaches
pocket.
into his sweater, and there's
And-
nothing in there. And he's like, "Oh, there's no gun here. I was in therapeutics, and I am at trans."
And it's pulling up a book on the left side with their left hand. I think we.
No, come on.
No! And Seir just sees in Kimani's face and eyes his mistake. Back on Earth, mission 60934-114, where he opened thousands of portals onto Earth, and the next second he tried to look for that face, and it was missing. And this is his one chance to maybe fix a mistake that he caused. And sensing this danger of this motherfucker's gonna try it again, leaps forward in a rugby tackle and says, "Oh no, you don't!" And
Yeah.
All
leaps
right,
forward.
hold on. To see how successful you are, I'm gonna need you to roll calling. So for this Arc 2 Interlude special, we are using a special Syndicate hack of lasers and feelings called Callings and Expressions. So how we do this is you roll a d6 and you try to get the number either above or below your stat. So what is your stat number, Seir?
3.
All right. For callings, you want to roll under 3 to be a success. So you get 1d6. Are you prepared? No.
No,
Are you an expert at tackling people?
I'd say so.
Yes. So roll 2d6, and we're looking for at least 1 under 3.
1 under 3, let's go. Come on, you've given me 5 ones before, dice. Both are under 3, that's 2 2s.
Okay, that is 2 successes. You do it well. Good job. You tackle Kimani. Kimani, you've got a book out in one hand, and then you get tackled to the floor by this huge truck of a person.
Oh, no, you don't. Not again.
Why? What did I do? Come on.
I don't know. You clearly break in to the office of the Hand of Fate, and clearly not where you're supposed to be. Come on now.
It wasn't a break-in.
So did you let go?
Dove
Did
in.
Kamani let go of the box?
The box is
When-
in his pocket.
Okay.
Okay, I really didn't want to have to do this. Okay. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? You ready?
Xainan's walking closer, looking at the book in their hand.
Getting closer is bad. Seeing if you back up.
Doesn't stop him. It
Okay,
does not
yeah.
stop
Say
him.
Sayer's
Oh.
still
She was not
holding
lying.
you.
I have no.
All of
so
us are
I
crowding
have
in.
rolled. So I've got a heads and 2 tails. Who wants it?
What?
I want what
What?
you have in your pocket.
Okay, Sayer gets a heads and the other 2 gets 2 tails. And Connie, I
Yep.
would like to cast Fireball centered on myself.
What?
Lovely. At what level are you
Hello?
casting Fireball?
Hello? enough to get a big motherfucker like Seir to blow back off of me. So like 6.
Okay, 6th level. All right. Kimani, you cast Fireball at 6th level. And we're gonna cut to break. So thank you so much for tuning in so far. We will be back in 10 minutes. See you so soon. Bijo.